your girl Mia, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. Please think about subscribing and joining the family. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about some waxing horror stories that I've heard, and none of these I've really ever experienced personally, but these are stories I've heard before becoming an esthetician, while I was an esthetician, some of my coworkers' stories, and I just wanted to come and put them all in one video because I thought like it would be very interesting to hear about and to watch. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of scared about getting into waxing when I heard about a few of these stories, but nonetheless, here I am. It's not to deter you from getting waxed yourself or from becoming a wax specialist if you are an esthetician or you're an esthetician student and waxing is something that you really want to get into. I just thought it would be interesting to come and share a few experiences that I've heard about, and yeah, this is a waxing horror story video, but it's compiled with like a few different people's stories, if that makes sense. So let's get right into it. So the first story I wanted to come here and talk to you all about would be a story that I've heard before becoming an esthetician. Was it before? I actually think this story was when I became an esthetician, but before I was licensed. So I didn't have any really waxing experiences doing Brazilian waxes. But I went to somebody who specializes in lashes, and she was an esthetician as well, and she also did waxing and everything. But I was going to her to get my lashes done. We were talking, like having girl talk and whatnot. I told her that I had just graduated from esthetician school, and then she was telling me about some experiences I think I asked about some experiences she's had with waxing, if she did that type of service. So she shared with me that one client she had for waxing, she was actually on her cycle, but I'm not sure if the client knew or not. But when the client took her clothes off and everything, I'm sure she probably saw it when she took her clothes off, but she took her clothes off and everything, and she got on the table, and my lash girl was getting ready to wax her, and she was like, hey, you're bleeding, you want to go to the bathroom before we get started, suggest those type of things to not make her feel uncomfortable in the situation, but to notify her that she was bleeding. The client got up and was like, oh yeah, I want to go to the restroom. I'm gonna go to the restroom. So she puts on her clothes and then she leaves. She doesn't even go to the restroom. She just leaves. I was like,
the woman was too stunned to speak.
Sorry, what? That's a very weird interaction that I've heard about her having. So I was just like, maybe waxing is just not, it's just not it. But then I've had a coworker, this is when I worked at a big corporation waxing center or whatnot. Take with that what you will. If you've seen previous videos on my channel, then you know what I'm talking about, or the police establishment that I'm talking about. But anyway, when I was working there, I had actually two instances happen. So I had this client, she came in and she came to me. It was only her second time getting waxed. She told me the first time she was getting waxed, she actually was on her cycle, so she had in a tampon. Disclaimer, you can get waxed when you are wearing a tampon if you are on your cycle, if that's something that you're comfortable with. But anyway, she told me that she came on her cycle and she was notified that she could still wear a tampon if, she still wanted to get waxed. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, you're a brave soul, because it's more painful if you decide to get waxed on your cycle, especially if it's your first time getting waxed in general. So I was just like, oh, you're brave, girl. You know, a lot of people would not survive getting their wax done for the first time while on their cycle. So then she proceeds to tell me that the wax specialist that she's seen actually like put wax all over her vajayjay all at once and ripped it all up at one time.
That's suspicious.
I was like, she did what? I was like, she didn't section it off. Like, she did this section first, then this section, and then that section, and then she did it one at a time. She was like, no. She put wax all over her lip area, the top part, and like ripped it all up. I'm just like, this can't be real. Like, this cannot be real. And she said when that happened, her tampon came out with the wax. I was like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. That was not supposed to happen. Like, first of all, when somebody's on their cycle, you have to be really careful because you don't want the tampon to come out. So you have to go around the tampon. And for her to accidentally get wax on the tampon and then rip it up was like, it was astonishing to me. But she proceeds to tell me that the girl goes and does the cleanups after the tampon is ripped out and does not allow her to use the restroom. What? That's insane. That's insane. But anyway, she had a better experience with me and she just thanked me for being gentle and like taking my time and not really ripping everything at one time. But then there is another story at the same establishment that I worked at. There's actually 2 more stories I have while I was working there. Actually 3. But it was very interesting working at that place. So the other story that I had is there was this client coming in and she was running late. And at that place, if you were like 10 minutes late, you could still come in. But if you were later than that, then you could not be seen and you had to reschedule. So this client comes in and she's like, oh, I have to really use the restroom. Can I use the restroom, please? And the wax specialist is like, well, you're already 10 minutes late. If you go to the restroom, I can't see you today. Because at this place, we only had like 15 minutes to wax and she must have had someone like right after her. But regardless, they make accommodations for the guests that we see. And if she couldn't see her, she could have been on somebody else's books. Regardless, she should have been able to use the restroom. Long story short. So she goes into the room, they get situated and everything. The wax specialist applies the wax. I'm not in the room with her, but this is the story that I've been told, y'all. So the wax specialist goes and applies the wax on her, and then she goes to take it off, and the girl pees. I was like, what? Like, why couldn't you just let her use the restroom before you went ahead and did that? Like, common sense would have told you, if I trigger something and this girl has to use the restroom really bad, I might get peed on. Like, what? Make it make sense, because it didn't make sense. It didn't click in my head. But that happened. There was also this story that happened where this other guest comes in, and I don't know what in her head told her this was a good idea, but anyway, she goes in, you get situated, you take your clothes off and everything, and the wax specialist was about to go ahead and do the service on her until she realized that this particular guest had crabs. So instead of you going to the doctor to fix that situation before coming to get waxed, you put a lot of people's safety in jeopardy to get waxed while you have a medical condition going on.
You just different. You're weird. Goofball. Fuck is you talking about?
And if you don't know anything about crabs, they actually jump. So it was very unsanitary and very inconsiderate for this guest to come in and knowing that they had like a situation going on. I don't know if she thought like getting rid of the hair would leave her with, I don't know what she thought, but I just thought that was so disgusting. They had to shut down that room for the whole day to make sure it would be sanitized, scrubbed down, cleaned, and disinfected properly. But I just was like, that's crazy. Like, that's really crazy. I've never seen anything like that in my whole waxing career. And now I've been a licensed esthetician for 2 years, and I still never seen anything like that before in my life.
Child. Anyway, so
The other story that I have that was at that same establishment was in the morning. It didn't have anything particular to do with a guest or a client that the person that my coworker had seen. But anyways, in the morning when we get our stations and our rooms ready and we get the wax ready, we have to turn up the wax all the way, to the highest temperature so that it can start melting down, because we have these huge wax pots. So we had to put the temperature at a really high temperature, turn it all the way up, and then go ahead and like keep stirring the wax and make sure that the heat is distributing properly, throughout the whole wax pot so that all of the wax in the pot can be warmed and at the same temperature and ready for our first client, because we only had 30 minutes to get everything ready, and it takes a while for the wax to typically warm up. So my coworker that I've had at this time, she went ahead and like started turning her wax up and everything, and she had like a 2nd or 3rd degree burn because the wax jumped out on her hand. She had to go to the hospital. I was just like, yo, I did not realize how dangerous it is being an esthetician or just dealing with wax in general. I did not realize how dangerous it would be when I signed up for this, because I'm like, this is a lot. Like, this is a lot to take in. The only experience I've had that was like a horrific story would be like, I don't know if you all seen the little TikTok that I did, but I'll place it here.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the only thing I've seen other than smegma, but that's another story. That's just a whole nother thing. If you don't know what smegma is, please look it up. And yeah, I think that's all of the stories, all of the horror stories I've heard so far, minus the one little incident that I had. But other than that, I've never really had an issue with people not being like up to par with their hygiene, or just like having some crazy stuff happen. But it's a lot of stuff out here, y'all, that people be going through, and I'm just like in awe because I've never had that experience. And I just think it's crazy that people think it's okay to put other people's lives or health at risk by doing certain stuff. And I don't know, I just thought it was very crazy, and I wanted to come on here and share this experience with you guys. If y'all like this video, I can definitely look up some more incidents that happen around like having a horrible or horrific experience with waxing, and I can also talk to a few of my esthetician friends about any horror stories they've had so I can share. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please think about liking, subscribing, and comment any questions or concerns or what you think about this video, because I thought it was just very interesting. And if you are an esthetician, comment some stories that you had so I can know, because I'm just mortified at some of the experiences that estheticians have to go through. It's just crazy. But anyways, thank you for watching. Please follow my Instagram, y'all. I'm gonna put it like right here somewhere. Please follow my Instagram, because it's like this platform and my TikTok platform I get a lot of love from, but Instagram is like, I don't know what's up with people on Instagram, but it's like they don't show any type of like love or like likes, or I don't know. I just don't get like enough interaction from Instagram, and I'm really thinking about deleting it. But please follow my Instagram before I do anything like deleting it or anything like that. Don't forget to do something that you love today, and I'll see you next time.